Dear friends, trucks are silly things. They rattle, bang, and chatter to each other so much that they can never hear what their engine says. Even if they did, they probably wouldn't take any notice. They pushed Mavis into a lorry, and that made extra work for Toby and Percy while she was being mended. But on the other hand, perhaps they're not all bad. After all, they did teach Bulstrode a lesson. See what you think. The author.
Up at the far quarry. She always picks up the stone from there and drops them off wherever she needs to be. But she only does it if Toby's too busy or there's too many freight cars for one engine to pull. She loves doing it because it gives her a chance to both stretch her wheels and to get out of the quarry, because there are times where she finds it dull and has no one to talk to but the trucks. On the way, there's a crossing where she needs to be careful, but she's really good at looking both ways before she passes by.
Let's see now. There's no one on the left, and there's no one on the right. Perfect.
You know, Mavis, there might be an accident one day.
What do you mean, driver?
Well, you know, there might be a vehicle that's going too fast, and you or the driver can't stop in time, and it'll cause a big wreck or something.
Oh, please, like that will ever happen.
I wouldn't say that if I were you.
A few days had passed, and Mavis had to draw out some freight cars again, except this time she was in a hurry because she was running late. There was a sorting mix-up with the trucks, and she had to fix it.
I can't be late! I can't be late!
The trucks were trying to push her, but she didn't have the patience with them today.
Knock it off!
Then she spotted something ahead of her. It was a lorry speeding towards the crossing. She knew that she wouldn't be in it in time, so she applied her brakes as hard as she could, but it was too late! Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the truck was on its side and Mavis's cow catcher was damaged. But she was more than worried about the driver than her damaged front.
It was an accident, I swear!
Don't worry, Mavis, it wasn't your fault. But didn't I tell you there might have been an accident at the crossing one day?
Yes, driver, you did.
Just then, the truck's driver safely crawled out of the truck without a single scratch on him. He was new to the island, so he didn't know about the crossing.
Whoa, is that a train?
No, it's a medium-sized dinosaur coming back from the dead, wearing a bow tie. Stupid.
Hey!
Look, man, I'm sorry about this. You see, I'm new on this island, so I don't know that there was going to be a crossing round here.
Well, the good thing is that you're not hurt. However, Mavis, your front looks pretty bent, so I think we should go to the works to get you fixed.
But what about this freight? And what about the quarry?
Oh, don't worry about that. I'm sure Sir Topham Hatt will think of something.
And indeed he did. Sir Topham Hatt arrived at the sheds where Toby and Percy were at, and told Toby what happened and what he needed to do.
But sir, what about the trucks from here?
I'm afraid that Percy will have to take care of that pier while you're down there. But you two need to be careful, or else you're going to end up in another wreck.
And with that, Sir Topham Hatt left, leaving the two trains worried.
Toby the tram engine was very excited. He was wearing a brand new bell that shone like gold. He was off to the seaside. His driver was explaining everything as they puffed along the line. There's a seaside village near here, and every year they have a big parade with a special attraction for all the visitors. This year, Toby, you're the special attraction. Thank you, sir, said Toby. But what does a special attraction do? Oh, just smiles and blows whistles at everyone, replied his driver. We're almost there. Listen, you can hear the seagulls. Soon they reached the little station by the village. But instead of a big welcome, there was just one man. He whispered to Toby's driver and turned sadly away. Well, if that doesn't take the biscuit, said Toby's driver. They've run out of room in the parade and don't need a special attraction after all. We've got to go home, Toby. I'm sorry, old boy. So am I, sighed Toby. Percy was shunting in the yard. He didn't expect to see Toby. What are you doing back so soon? Before Toby could reply, Sir Topham had arrived. Leave these cars, please, Percy. There's an emergency at the harbor. Come on, Percy, said his driver. This'll be trouble with Bulstrode. Who's Bulstrode? Wondered Percy. He was still surprised about Toby, and now he had two puzzles to sort out. His driver explained. Bulstrode is a disagreeable barge. He never stops complaining. His driver was right about Bulstrode. Today the barge was more bad-tempered than ever. Come on, come on. Why aren't you cars where you should be? There's no engine, and we can only go where we're put, shouted the cars. You're in the wrong place, not us. When Percy arrived, Bulstrode was sulking, and the cars were crosser still. Our stone is for Bulstrode. Please put us in a siding so that we can load him up and be rid of him. But the cars were being careless. As Percy was lining them up, they burst through some buffers. Help! Help! They wailed. But it was too late. Bulstrode. I'm sinking. Serves you right, giggled the cars. You were always barging in and moaning. It took a very long time to clear the mess. Percy watched as Bulstrode was towed to the beach. There you are, said the workman. Now you can just stay here. Children can play in you all day, and at long last, you'll be useful. When Percy got home, he and Toby exchanged all their news. Well, we both had some seaside surprises today, laughed Toby. But Driver says that I'm a special attraction anyway, and so are you. Every time we go on our own line. What do you mean? Asked Percy. Well, all we have to do is smile and blow whistles at everyone.
It had been a few days since Mavis's accident, and Percy was already busier than ever. He had to pull the freight cars from the quarry at daytime and pull the mail train at nighttime. He was very tired and exhausted, so he had to rest before he can continue doing Mavis's job. So Toby was able to help, but he couldn't just help Percy with the work all the time because he had to take care of his passengers. So Terence came to help. Percy was confused.
Why are you helping us? You're not an engine.
Because
course I could go anywhere. I don't need to run on rails every 24 hours. I could go on rails and get coupled with the trucks just fine. Maybe you should be like me instead of that.
Pa, me ploughing a field? I'd prefer to stay on the rails, thank you.
Actually, steam engines did plow fields a long time ago.
He does have a point, Percy. I mean, look at Trevor.
I guess you're right. Sorry, Terence.
That's alright. Now I better get to work while you two are resting.
So Terence left the two engines behind and started working at the sidings. He shunted the cars to their rightful places. After he was done, the other engines would take the freight they needed and leave with them. The next day, when Toby got up, he felt like he had the energy to start working at the quarry again. But he could also feel the cold breeze getting to him. The tracks were a bit frosty, and Toby's fire was the only thing that's keeping him warm.
The weather is sure getting worse.
After he dropped off the empty freight cars, he was puffing his way back to his shed, where he doesn't have to feel the cold breeze hitting him all the time. But there was trouble ahead. The cold breeze had frozen the crossing tracks overnight, and it's now covered in cold ice. But Toby didn't know this. By the time he did, he slided off the tracks and went onto the road.
Whoa, Nelly!
At last, he came to a halt. His driver and fireman walked out, and Toby was horrified.
Driver, what just happened?
It looks like the breeze froze the tracks over the crossing lane from last night.
Oh dear, now what do we do?
I would say call for help, but I do have an idea.
His driver and fireman poured out a lot of sand that led to the tracks, so Toby can slowly and carefully go backwards to the crossing lane. But Toby wasn't sure about his driver's idea.
Are you sure about this, driver?
Of course, Toby. It is worth a try.
Toby started to go backwards. He was shaking from left to right a little, but he was going slow. And when he made it to the crossing lane, his wheels finally made it to the tracks. At last, he felt all of his wheels landing on the tracks, and he came to a stop. He sighed with relief, and was very happy that he was back on the tracks instead of on the road.
I'll let the back controller know about the icy rails when we get to the sheds.
After he called Sir Topham Hatt, he immediately got into his car and drove towards the sheds. When he got there, he started to talk to Toby.
What was it I hear about you coming off the rails? Were you trying to be a traction engine like Trevor?
Oh no, definitely not, sir.
Then he told Sir Topham Hatt about what Terence told him and Percy. He let out a chuckle.
If I were you, I would leave the roads to what they are made for. You better make sure that you stay on the rails next time. I think they are more comfortable than what roads are.
I couldn't agree less, sir.
When the next day came, Mavis was completely fixed and was back to working. Now Toby and Percy wouldn't need to do her chores anymore. They can now be really busy engines.